Because I turned a lot of great legal, so that's why I'm kind of like, I take that to you. My friend chat with us, that's all. Radio and numbers and radio. We got an 80. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I lost it. I think you're gonna think about what's possible though. Yeah, funny, so you're a little lost. So I'm just getting everyone, not but then running my people. So I'm like very used to it, I'm very used to it, I know, like it, yeah, I don't like change very much. I like it a lot, out there, yeah, for home. Yeah, and they do yeah, that's what they say, the original one is that I actually like 4 games. Yeah, that's it. That was like, we did have that. That's the one that I like. I never thought it yeah. I'm working. It's really like, yeah, they friends with our friends and people. Yeah, I work with people, I just like, I friends, like mother, like for me, and for me, I don't like, I love it like, oh, yeah, second October. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talk about it. Yeah, I love that. So you can get on. I don't know. Yeah. What I think they would help me. Yes. I remember they're beautiful. I can't find a girl. Like protein yogurt. And they burn like an hour. Like grab and go, yeah. West of those things need to be on the wall. Yeah, the first show you can have the yeah, in West. I'm just so we're just right there. The only downside to yeah, a little bit, it can get loud. So my daughter's especially in vegetables. I think I love that. So, but overall, I yeah, one of they are because we have actually, yeah. Like, I got to look at my whole fires. Yeah. But then they now start having to nothing is like I know we're right now, I'm like, we go to Chipotle. We'll get chicken fries. I'm not gonna like cook. We're like underpowered and don't ever sell your house. Do not sell your house. I'm working like all that. Even with that, I would agree with you. Like, yeah, you can save it on the ground. And I feel like I'm gonna buy it back. We never get that one. I'm like, what's moving? But that's all it's going. But you got the yeah. So like DoorDash. I'm like, no, we're not. That's 20 each. Yeah, it's weird. That's Oh, Chris tells you and suddenly it's.
We just had a girl, so he just got a license on Monday,
Oh.
and so they wanted to make group, and I'm like.
Can you guys talk?
Well, you do fun, there's some.
Yeah.
It's a thing in Boyer, so I don't have to like buy one, you want free,
Oh
so
my
there you go.
Then I'm like, today.
Oh, full stones. Yeah.
She wanted to shop there. I'm trying to get all that. The area. But I'm gonna read them too. That makes more sense. Does. Correct. We do the registry. You're the one in time class. And I thought it was great. Yeah. Sorry. We got here. This like layer titles. Yes. Together. We get it. I've never been to be able to hear them. And they are. Yeah, and I give them out. I give them out. They're on training. So they have.
The one that says safety, you should have this when somebody else did. I don't know. It's your name, it's fine. Yeah. Oh, I'm saying for her. Okay. One moment, I feel like. All right.
But the. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want me to spotlight her? Yeah. It'll spotlight it for the people on Zoom. It'll be weird for the people in person, but.
Okay. Hi. Hi. Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
For some of you, I'm Katie Coleman. I don't even know why they buy I am. Can you guys hear us on Zoom land? Okay, and you can see our two panelists, Brittany and Jordan. Okay.
Brittany.
Jordan. All right, well, today I am here to present a panel of questions for two of our top agents in our office about our value propositions. Something that obviously has come up because of the whole NAR thing, like putting it out there that what you're worth. Let's talk about what you're worth. So, Brittany, Jordan, do you want to introduce yourselves, or is that enough? We can just, you guys know Brittany and Jordan? No?
I don't know.
Okay, interview.
Brittany Heckenberg, so my husband Ryan and I, we run the home group here, at Avenues. So I have been in the real estate industry for 25 years. We are one of the top teams in the Colorado region, consistently for the last 4 years, in the top 10, in GCI volume. What else? Mom of four, so I have 4 kiddos. Our daughters are 16, 14, and our boys are 9 and 7. And Colorado Arvada natives. So that's us.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm Jordan Kessler, I work with my wife Katie, and we're name is Katie. And also Jimmy Caffey. Jimmy and Caffey are part owners of the office. They're retired now for the most part, and they watch the grandkids a lot, so Katie and I can work. But they're still licensed. Jim's been selling real estate in Arvada for, I think he's been licensed for 42 years now. I don't know if he's watching, he needs to correct me. So Katie started selling real estate with Jim about 11 years ago. I was in the commercial construction industry, residential, and it just, it was just the opportunity to be my own boss and create a business that we could sustain ourselves. So I started selling real estate about 6.5 years ago. We rank in the top 100 within the region as well. We have 2 young kids. I'm just gonna go off of your format. A 6-year-old boy Leo, and a little girl Lainey, she's 4. They're our world. That's why we're in real estate, so we can provide a life in them and be present for them growing up. I love to be outdoors. I walk around with my bow for endless hours every fall and chasing wild animals. Things like you don't see me much after September. Again, until January, I'm not hardly in the office. I'm working from a camper or a tent or something like that. So that's a little about me, and I golf sometimes too.
Very good. Are you good hunter?
Yeah, but you have fun, right?
That's fun.
Okay, that's good.
So nice fun.
And maybe we'll be biking soon. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's start this off so we don't, so my first question is for both of you. We'll start with Brittany. Talking about core values, can you describe the core values that drive your business and how these translate into tangible benefits for your clients?
Absolutely. So I think for me, it's something that has always kind of been there. So I'm a big like rule follower, contract stuff. I love the contract stuff. So there's nothing that you can not hit me with when it comes to our advice and contracts. So I take our fiduciary very personal, and that is basically what leads our values on our team. And so when we approach clients at the very, very, very beginning, everything that we do has to be in their benefit. And that is something I've always led our business with. And so you will see and you will hear and you will engage with other agents, and I always call it like commission breath. And it is probably the biggest turnoff for me when it comes to anything, when it comes to negotiations and transaction. And so the quicker that we can take ourselves out of a transaction and actually work on the benefit of our buyer or our seller, the more successful and the better you're going to be as an agent. And that's what leads our values. That's what leads our core. We have been in plenty of kitchens and living rooms telling people now's not the right time to sell. Now's not the right time to buy. I've had the conversations with buyers, you need to terminate this house. And so when we take ourselves out of it, it makes our core and our value and at the heart of why we're in this business that much more real.
Great, I can appreciate that now too, because I've gotten a little too personal into transactions. The comment of getting out, like this needs to stop, it's a really hard one.
It's a really hard skill set. It's a really, really, really hard skill set. And I don't say that lightly, because I know sometimes, especially in our first couple of years, we're like, oh my God, I'm like counting on this so bad, and I want this to go this way. But I can tell you every time it feels forced, they feel it too. And you lose credibility with your clients. Yeah.
Brittany, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
How would you have that statement with your client? Like if something just really wasn't good for them, how would you say?
Oh, I mean, I'm very high D, so I'm very blunt, so I don't really sugarcoat any of it. Because I'm like,
And she's
this
not
house-
lying.
yeah, this house is a POS and I don't have a good feeling about it. I mean, that's typically how it would come out, like on the buy side. If they want more, I'll give them more. But and sometimes, and I think that's the thing, I think we all have been built with intuition as well. And so one of the pieces is with the experience and with doing as many transactions as you can, you will start to feel, like you will feel in any given transaction if it feels right or if it feels wrong.
Okay.
And that doesn't really take a lot of coaching or pushing or nudging or any of that, right? And so it's being able to listen to that, it's being able to hear and receive what's coming from you in all different directions, one from your clients and two from like your co-op agent. One of the things I do tell, especially both buyers and sellers, and this is true and it's been true for 26 years, if my clients start having nightmares, like actual nightmares about it, it's always a bad sign. And I usually will leave that at the listing appointment or at a buyer consult. And it almost gives them permission throughout some transaction to say, something doesn't feel right, and then we can open that conversation. I remember one of my buyers, I told him, I'm like, you can't buy it. And it was a hot market, we lost out on 8 property, like, it was just nuts. So the fact that we got under contract was something to celebrate. And I had just been mad, there's something not right. I don't think I'm getting the full story from the seller's listing agent, I'm gonna need to terminate. And he's like, I've been feeling that for 3 days and I need someone to give me permission.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I think when you have those honest conversations with your clients, and if you don't feel right, then it helps us advocate a little bit better for each and everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that was well said. Our business, our goal, what we talk about is we come to contribution, what a Roman transaction is. We hear that a lot in the office and we encompass that in our business. The first thing we sit down with people, buyers or sellers, we sit down and tell them, we're gonna be honest with you. One way or another, we're gonna be honest with you because our business, at this point is built on 95% repeat and referral business. If people feel that their interest isn't, number one for us, they're not gonna come back to us, not with other family and friends of us. There's situations where we're in right now, where it's a conversation of, we really don't think you should sell your home. I don't think it's gonna be in the best interest of you, for you in the future. If you're honest with people, and Brittany really nailed it, they can smell it. They'll never come back to you, you're gonna lose all your credibility. So our core values, they're based around honesty, integrity. We want to be people's realtor for life. We want them to tell all their friends and family about us. The only way you can accomplish that is to be honest with people, find out, when you're negotiating, you always want to make those calls and find out, what's somebody else's pain point. How can we use that as leverage? The same conversation you have to have with your own clients, but you're not using it for leverage, you're using it so you can provide the best possible experience for them. You have to find out what is most important to them, sit down and listen to them. And for us, that's number one for us. We're just listening and listening and listening. And how can we solve a problem for you? How can we go above and beyond and solve an issue for you?
Right, so, one of the things I took out of that with honesty is also trust.
Yeah.
They need to trust you and they need to feel like you're and being open and honest.
Well, and I think
Does
that, yeah, and I think that kind of leads into like value, right? Like, how do you earn someone's trust? And for us, it's always been being honest and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So with those two strategies, let me add on to that. So do you tailor your approach of getting your value out to people differently for different types of clients, or do you do the same for all clients?
Yeah, I think for us, I think the core of it is probably all the same. I think the approach, like how to feed it to them, deliver it, is probably different per person. I'm very good at matching here. And so it's one of those things, I know personality types very easily. Like I'm one of those, like I say, I'm a high D because I'm high D, but I can be an exceptional I, right? And so it's just one of those things, and that's the other piece is you kind of have to know your audience and know how to deliver it. I would, and that's when I first got started, I got very immersed in the disc.
I was just gonna say, I think we need to.
Yeah, I loved it. I will teach it, you guys. I love it. I love it. And so that's probably the best way to know who your audience is and know, again, to their core, like what their pain points are and how you should be delivering it, right? I'm not gonna, for a very emotional person who just wants the warm and fuzzies with all of like the really great things I've ever done in my life, because they don't care. And they want to hear about my kids, and they want to hear about the happy places in the rooms they get to decorate, right? So it just kind of depends,
Yeah, you take the time to sit down and get to know people and find out what excites them. Is it, when you're about my kids, I'll tell you about my kids. You only want to know numbers, because we can dive right into that. It's taking the time to sit down and figure out what's most important to you. And I don't know the disc profile quite like Brittany does. But if it's all numbers and kind of the boring stuff, then let's stick there, because I know that's what you like and that's what's important to you. Katie is much more well versed in that. Katie's, you know, hey, if you're the kids and you like exciting stuff, you're gonna get something sent in your door to surprise you.
She's the warm and fuzzy. She is warm.
Says the engineer brain.
But it is, it's just taking your time to sit down and care enough to. You know, sometimes you have the warm and fuzzy, the people that really respond to that, but even the people that are, and again, on this, they would rather stick to their facts, they don't appreciate it, and pick up on that, providing them to them.
But it's still all the same, right? It's like, you still have to trust in the integrity, it's just a matter of how it's delivered. Delivered in a way that they will embrace it.
So it's, as you get into the industry, your listing presentation, your buying presentation, conversations, they're ever evolving. You're never gonna have your listing presentation set and that's it, because you're gonna figure out, you're gonna start meeting these different personalities. And you're gonna have a listing presentation for Brittany and her personality. You're gonna have a listing presentation for an older demographic, a younger demographic. You're gonna start to get to understand how these people respond. And it's taking the time and it's doing it over and over. Like your presentation, they're never set, they're never done. You're always changing, you're always evolving, always making them better.
All right, well, since we're kind of on a conversation with spouses. So you both work with your spouses. You mentioned kind of how you guys are different. You and Ryan might be different, but how do you bring those dynamics together? Like, do you go on listing appointments together, or if there's a certain client, you're like, okay, Katie's going on this one, not mine? Like, I don't know, because I don't have anybody like that, but how do you put your spouses into the daily operations of your business?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. You know, there's obvious ones that Katie will go on, somebody that she had worked with prior to. And vice versa, there's connections that I make that Katie wasn't a part of, but a lot of the time, if we can, we both go on the appointment together. That way we can have both of our, both of our personalities working at the same time. So, there's really no answer to it. I don't know.
Y'all are different.
Right, when we can go together, we feel like it works out really, really well. That's the preferred method. Sometimes it's not necessary, sometimes it's a repeat, client that doesn't require both of us being there. But as far as from a safety standpoint, if it's somebody we don't know, we both go together or I can.
I know, because you need Katie there to do something back on us too.
I mean, also that,
Right?
She's gotta be the.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I can tell you in full transparency, I have spent a ton of money on coaching for Ryan and I to identify our roles. And worst money I've ever spent. So it is, when we first joined together in real estate, we were putting him in a box and we were putting me in a box. And that box was, Brittany is the muscle and she is the rainmaker and she does all the listings and Ryan works with buyers and da. And it was disastrous. I mean, it wasn't like a bad year, but it was disastrous for us personally, for our marriage, and for our clients. Because the reality is, people like him and people like me, and sometimes they like us together and sometimes they don't like us together. And so what we had to get really intentional about is building our standard within our team, right? So we have a standard. And my standard looked different than Ryan's standard and vice versa. And so once we got to a core and said, this is what our standard is, but yet people are going to choose to work with you for that standard and people are going to choose to work with me for that standard. And so it made things so much easier in our life. And so I'll work buyers, I'll work sellers, he'll work buyers, he'll work sellers. There are definitely instances where I'm like, hey, especially if we're competing or if we are going with a husband and wife situation, I will play on that strength too and bring him and he will bring me. So yeah, it was just a matter of learning how to actually work with the gifts and the skill sets that each of us possess and not trying to fit one of us into a box. Because that's not authentic and it doesn't feel right to us. And one thing you will learn about us in our business is everything attempts to be as authentic as possible. So, and I think that's why people choose to work one, especially with you guys too, because you guys are authentic people. And when we start piecing stuff together like that, it loses its luster.
Yeah, if you're meeting with a married couple, people that you don't know who's gonna lead the conversation
Right.
there. And are they gonna direct that conversation to Brittany? Because if they do, Brittany's gonna take the lead on it. If they direct it towards Ryan,
Yeah.
Ryan's gonna take the lead because they're gonna kind of build the comfort level. For Katie and I, it depends, you know, when as buyers come in and referrals come in, depends on who's busy and who's not. But we let the client kind of make the choice, you know, are they gonna
Mhm.
direct the conversation to Katie? Sometimes you show up and, it's a referral that Katie got, but the husband is leading the way and he's gonna direct everything to me.
Agreed.
And where we thought Katie was taking the listing on, it just makes sense and we can both sense it. And I kind of take over and take the lead and vice versa.
And that's where your ego steps out of the way.
Correct.
And that was one thing that we learned as well, when we were putting ourselves in a box, I had an ego or he had an ego about the client, and then it no longer became about the client.
Right.
And so, and that's the piece too, where, yeah, there will be times where, Ryan might not connect with a certain client, but then they connect with me, and then he steps out of the picture for it, and vice versa, and it might not always be the woman,
But he
right?
supports you. so
Yeah,
On the
always,
back.
yeah, of course.
He helps you out with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's the piece too, or like I'll have, and I'm sure it was confusing for our clients too, especially with male clients I had worked with who were friends with Ryan, and then when Ryan got in real estate, and they would call me. And so I'm like, well, how, so we'd both go on the appointment and then we'd watch to see who they engaged with.
Right,
Who do they trust?
just gotta read people.
And then that's was your decision. We made it pretty easy.
That's when I got into real estate, I thought I had to have all the answers going into these appointments.
Right.
I had to know, that's my person, I'm a planner. I eliminate things because I eliminate them by how I plan, it's just how I roll. Katie's like, let's go.
Get it
So,
done.
and it changed, I've grown so much, why did Katie do that? Because if you have all these plans in place, and that's how this appointment's gonna go, we're gonna talk about this, and this one, this. What I've learned in 6.5 years, they're gonna steer the conversation to where it needs to go. And you can eventually touch on everything you need to touch on, but they're gonna kind of run the appointment for you. You're just gonna be there kind of like kicking back in the middle of the path. Like, let's keep going down this way. And they're gonna eventually tell you everything you need to know. And for us, that's where we can read it, where you guys can read it and figure out who's gonna be the best fit here.
And say one thing to add too, even when we do have a client that we meet together with, one of us will take the lead. But as far as if there's any kind of text message, that we always keep everybody in the loop, and it's like we can still chime in, there's still that lead person. But like, at least I'm like, oh, happy closing day, or like, there's still that conversation, like, congrats, or like, that way we're still engaged with, both of us are engaged no matter who takes the lead.
Katie and I, we have our personal emails and we have a team email. We really feel it's everybody needs to be involved, because in some cases, like we said, one person will gravitate to the other and they take the lead and they run with it.
Or if one of us just has to step in for some reason, we're not blindsided.
But there's some cases where it's fun, where husband and wife or same team, both calling the shots. Then we keep it all open communication, we're all working on one thing together.
Yeah.
As it appears, for us, it is one or the other taking the lead on it, so the other one can be a little more.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, now we're gonna switch gears. Obviously, we talked about the lawsuit going in today. So with that whole thing, how are you ensuring compliance and transparency in your transactions right now? Have you started that conversation with anybody?
I've started it. It's one of those things we don't necessarily know how it's gonna go, right? And so there's a piece where I am not a doom and gloom person. And so I'm not gonna pretend to have all the answers, so that we're not gonna have the answers. And you can speculate all day long about everything. I think it's good to be prepared and to have conversations and if I, like full transparency, my buyer's agency has always been the same, that's not really gonna change. So the lawsuit's not gonna change anything. So my conversation with buyers is the exact same conversation I'm gonna lead with going forward that I have for the past 2 years. So, so that aspect doesn't change. My conversations with sellers has changed slightly. But I'm a huge advocate and proponent for working with a co-op agent. And I always have been, to be honest, and you can kind of even look at some of our numbers and our transactions. We typically don't double end a lot of our listings because I do feel buyers should have some type of a representation. And so, and I explain that to sellers too, because you will get the question, well, if you bring the buyer, are you getting a discount? And, you know, every situation's a little bit different, but I'm a huge proponent for everyone having equal representation. So maybe the fee structure has changed, maybe the conversation around the fee structure has changed. You know, the listing appointment I just had last week, I said, you know, you're kind of in the driver's seat with what you want to do on a co-op fee. This is my fee, these are co-op fees. These are what all the competitors are doing. All the competitors right now are at a 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 2.5. If we are not offering something, I cannot meet your timeline. And I feel that's my core. So I feel that's my core, especially with this particular property and with pricing strategies and all that. And so, again, it's completely up to them. So the conversation has shifted slightly. But the reality is, I've always had those conversations with sellers too, with commission being negotiable. So I don't know, I don't know if it's been that big of a deal, but.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, our conversations are changing, but it's not drastic at all. Since I've been in real estate, you know, anytime I'm golfing or I'm talking to somebody, what do you charge to sell a house? What house? What clients? There's no answer. No, I don't have a set fee for how I sell houses. Are you nice? Is the house done? Is it a divorce situation? Seriously. We don't have a set fee. We never have. So, for that conversation, it's easy to, there is no set fee. As far as I'm concerned, there's never been a set fee. I have a set fee after I assess the situation. Katie and I have a set fee. We have a minimum. And that's how the conversation goes after we present our value proposition. This is what I charge to sell a house. This is my fee. Now, what the co-op is completely up to you. And Brittany said it perfectly, so I don't have to go in there as well. But here's your comparables. Here's what they offer. If you choose not to offer one, it's going to limit your exposure. It's going to slow your time frame down. But if you think about it, if you do offer that, it's going to net you this. If you don't offer it, it's going to net you this. It's going to be the same either way. So we might as well offer it. That way we can keep the time on. Because you're going to net the same either way.
And one of the pieces too for me is especially when I'm running my net sheets without it, you know, I'm reducing the price because how we've always done business is those fees have been built into a list price. And it's one of those things. So, you know, again, I can just go off about the settlement, but I won't. But one of the pieces is, so if you are going to sit in front of a seller and run two different scenarios, one with a co-op fee and one without a co-op fee, you better think long and hard and do your research with your comparable properties to make sure that you're not giving them false hope that that list price that you're putting in front of them is going to stay the same without a co-op. And I will leave it at that. Yeah.
Correct. Knowing how to talk net numbers with not only your sellers, your buyers as well, and how net numbers affect the seller, is incredibly important right now at this time. Net numbers being what a seller walks away with when we're all said and done. Because like Brittany alluded to, trying to tell someone you can sell at this price when 15 other comparables have a co-op, and you're not going to offer that, to expect that same number it's not responsible business.
Perfect.
So I don't have to ask the next question.
You can.
So you don't really plan on changing your communication because that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of the-
I don't anticipate, I think everything's gonna shake out the way it's supposed to shake out. And I think our industry is gonna change, and it may not, I mean, our commissions might go down, they might stay the same. Like I do actually think we're gonna probably have more agents leave the business, so I do think that's on the horizon. But I don't really think it's gonna change the way we do business. I think for us, like, for Ryan and I specifically, I think we're gonna have to get real intentional about our value prop. I think we're gonna have to get really intentional about listing business. And make sure that we are continuing doing a good job for our clients.
Which is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, Katie and I have become more firm with our fee.
Yeah.
This, if anything, has, for us, really brought to the forefront of what is our value proposition. We do bring a lot to the table, and we feel that, and the way we relay it over they feel that, they see that.
Yeah.
And we also, like Brittany said, I see a huge value in offering a co-op, working with a good buyer's agent. And one thing I would say we've added in as far as the conversation is the benefits of offering a co-op and a buyer's agent. We can't do this alone. I don't have all the buyers.
Nor do we want to.
Correct.
I mean, that's the other piece. I mean, y'all heard, we have kids, everyone has other lives. I mean, I don't wanna be the crazy agent on a weekend or night running out to show my listing to somebody who's not pre-qualified, who doesn't have any representation. I mean, there's gotta be a standard for how I wanna run my life too, right?
We'll do it if the opportunity comes up, but I particularly do not enjoy, representing a listing, and I will not do a TV unless the situation,
It has to be the right situation.
it has to be the right situation for me. It's like -1% what the situation is for. Because for me, it's seller, customer, or I'm not gonna do it. Go find somebody else.
Right.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's too fine a line for me to wanna try to walk. So we have added that to the conversation, at least I have, buyer's agents are important. We need buyer's agents. We need them to bring us a buyer. They have to execute their side of the contract. They have to review an inspection report. They have to get their guys to the table. So they do offer a big piece to it.
Yeah, and I think that's an easy conversation, right? The seller hires me because I'm gonna advocate what nobody's business for them, right? How can I advocate for them if I'm managing somebody else's expectation on the buy side?
Right.
It's really difficult. It's really difficult. And I still can, have peace and refer business and all that type of stuff, doing a really good job for that, so it doesn't change my.
Perfect, so as a team, your team, there's all teams, but what will you implement, or what are you gonna try to implement, or will you at all? Any of more training or coaching, or do you think you guys have what you need to work together
Yeah.
to take this challenge on in July? Or do you feel like you need to listen to like a bunch of other people, get a lot of other people's opinions?
I mean,
There's a lot out there.
yeah, I mean, we've been listening since it started.
Yeah.
I'm yet to hear something that's going to drastically change our business. It's for us, it's gonna be business as usual. We're gonna continue to find ways to add value to people's lives. And that's it. We'll see what they come out with. Obviously, we're gonna have to implement some changes. Like we an open house that we. But yeah, as of now, it's business as usual. We're not going to, one thing that we live by and we teach our kids is we're not gonna worry about things that we can change, and we don't know what's gonna happen, so we're not really taking any drastic steps right now.
I think, for us, for us, I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot, but this is what I will say, if you are a newer agent or if you've been in the business less than 6 years, you're gonna have to level up. And you're gonna have to get really concise with what you're doing. And I'll put you on the spot, how many times have you read MREA?
What's MREA?
You have not. Well, this could be my whole darn point, Jordan. Okay, so.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I've read it one time.
Seriously, I typically will read, the NREA at least once a year, right before I go back to family reunion. That book has not really changed in 27 years. And you know why? Because it's basic. And once we can get real estate back to the basics, that's when we're gonna start to see improvement. And so when I sit here and say, level up, I mean, level up, educate yourself, do the things that have historically always been done because it will produce the results that you will always see. When we start getting creative, when we start taking our foot off the brake or gas or whatever it is, then it kind of screws up your whole mentality with stuff, right? And so you're gonna have to get concise with
Because there's no.
your
tangible
yeah,
results.
there's no results, and you just chase something that's not even there, right?
Without any, you don't even know what you're chasing.
No, and so being comfortable kind of being uncomfortable, start lead generating, start prospecting for listings, start calling people, start building a database, like all of those things, those are all the core of your business.
Mhm.
And if you're uncomfortable doing that, reevaluate if you should be in the business. Because the reality is all the people that are uncomfortable doing that are gonna get it. I get out of town. by the end of the year. And so the quicker you know that that's the stuff that you have to do to be successful, the quicker you're gonna be successful, because 80% of people aren't gonna do it.
Right. I'm so glad you said that, because my favorite part of family reunion, we go every 2 years bringing up kids. My favorite part about family reunion is I leave every single time going, "Ah, that's right, it's simple.
Yep.
Nobody reinvented the wheel. You can go to family reunion every single year, and you're gonna hear the same principles from different people. You're gonna listen to Dan Ihara talk, Jeff Glover, Gary Keller, all of them. Their principles have not changed. The principles of being successful in real estate have not changed, and I love that about family reunion, because things come out all the time. There's new products, there's new,
Yeah, flashing.
oh my gosh, there's
I think that
new-
actually-
all kinds
A
of.
new book and a new training,
Oh,
yeah.
for my training.
The training, social media schedules, which are, again, are beneficial. There's some rabbit holes out there people are going down. I love, for the same reason you love MREA,
Yeah,
why I love family reunion is because it reiterates that principles have not changed. Nobody has reinvented the wheel. The top producers, William Keller Williams, they're not changing things.
no,
They're taking what's coming at them and rolling with them, but the lead generation hasn't changed, the time blocking hasn't changed.
leverage hasn't changed.
Leverage hasn't changed, the 80-20 rules have not changed, there's people have made themselves multi-millionaires on the basic principles that we teach in this office.
Agreed.
Brittany, is MREA a book?
Yeah, millionaire real estate agent. Yep.
Probably there's a copy of it in the.
There should be literally copies. There should be copies of the MREA in this office. Yeah,
There are.
there are. The grab it.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, Tom, oh, yeah. All right, well, let's get off that topic now. Put that one to bed. This is for Jordan. Just for you. How do you utilize your sphere of influence and farming techniques to maintain your business?
Yeah, our sphere, our farming area, our sphere, I mean, that's our lifeline. Those are our people, those are our next door kids. We love them the most next. We connect with them as much as possible through mailers. We're staying in front of them with events. For as much as we can be a part of their lives, we're sending their kids' birthday cards. We're being at their kids' birthday. As much as they'll let us into their lives, we're gonna be there. They matter most to us. They're the lifeblood of our business. So you talk, what our sphere is, we have our whole marketing plan for them. We have our farming area, we have our marketing plan for them, we have our playbook, we brought our playbook to a panel last week. Kind of laid out some things that we do. We put it together every year about Q3, beginning of Q4 of what's the plan for the next year. Because again, as the MREA says, which you find out at Keller Union, if you're top of mind, you're it. When somebody thinks real estate, they need to think your name. And it doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of consistency, which again is nothing new. Being consistent with your business.
And along those lines, for someone that might be a new agent or maybe just like maybe within the last 3 to 4 years, and building that sphere and farm, and maybe doesn't have the budget for all those other things. When you guys started that, was it just like the 80-20 rule? Was it just reaching out to the people you knew, or did people just kind of start funneling in?
We were able to buy budget database, so we had that, but Katie and I, business does come in from that, but 90% of our business comes from just what Katie and I have done. And it started small. It started out with passing flags on 4th of July, and got a good response from that. And it went from, like we talked about our panel last week, it went from one event to the next, because what we found out, even these events that we have 300 or 400 people come to, they're really not that expensive. They're really not that expensive to do. There's so many things you can put together and do to offer to people that you don't have to invest a ton of money into doing. For us, the passive mailers are just incredibly important. I think about like growing up, I'm like, who else would call out a native here? You don't even have to be a native here to get my reference here. But when it was time to buy Katie's engagement ring, where do you think I went?
Cheers.
No.
Clearly, your friend of the time.
I didn't even know the address. Do you remember the address?
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the furniture. He's got.
7-year-old me was screaming at myself when I was 25. But for me, that was something like that, right? Top of mind for your industry. And we say top of mind through passive mailers, through our events, but we are being very intentional in reaching out to people. We're using our social media tools, stay in touch with people and using it as an opportunity to reach out. Or, people go through tough times, they go through great times, and we want to celebrate and help and do what we can for all of them.
Okay, so this is yours.
Yes.
Let's look at, how you leverage agent referrals,
Yeah.
and how if they have shaped your business or your
They
model.
definitely have. I am embarrassed to say that this is probably one element in our business that we missed a lot of opportunity for probably 2 decades, if I'm being really honest. So the agent referral business started really blossoming like the last 4 years. And I look back and I think, how did that happen? And what I can tell you is it was my participation and Ryan's participation in all things KW. And what that looks like is being in coaching. So I've been in MAPS coaching for years and years and years. And so it was building a relationship with my MAPS coach, who was one of my biggest referral partners. It was showing up to family reunions, showing up to make a camp, engaging with those people in the coaching program that I was already in with. Because you were essentially with agents that are like-minded, right? If they're in that level of production, you're with someone like-minded. What I can say for someone that maybe doesn't want to get into mastery is they have breakthrough coaching. They have those groups where I did the Monica Reynolds Perfect Real Estate Assistant group for 8 weeks. That was phenomenal. You meet agents there. KW has so many opportunities for you to be immersed in agents that are like-minded. Ryan and I are part of luxury, we were part of the wealth, Ryan was part of the planner, even ALC member, there's so many communities that we have been a part of within KW that has helped build those relationships. And so it became a matter of being intentional when we are there and we are engaging those people. And so even a family reunion reached out to a handful of agents in our wealth community specifically and just said, hey, I have dinner reservations this night and I have dinner reservations this night, which is really hard to get dinner reservations in Vegas. So I had that stuff planned in December. And so, yes, so, hey, join us for dinner. And then we have meaningful conversations. Hey, join us for this. And so that's kind of how we built it and we feed it. And what I mean by feeding it is everybody goes on an agent newsletter. So I have a custom template that I've built and it's a quick market snapshot of Denver, talks about us, talks about our successes. It doesn't talk about our listings. It doesn't talk about any of that stuff. It's just a very quick read. Hey, I'm in Denver, blah, 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 blah. And so everyone gets that. And I think we have a 75% open rate, which is pretty dang good. Very few people unsubscribe because we're consistently putting value in it. And one of the things that we prided ourselves in that newsletter is I will provide something of value to those agents. So I'll give them my favorite marketing tip for the month. I'll give them the results of use this Facebook post because this generated this, or hey, here's my 72 touch plan, or hey, this is it. I'm always giving them something so that they don't unsubscribe and keep remembering me. One of the things is I am one of the cultural ambassadors for KW for this past year. And that's a great group of people to be in because everyone's like-minded. And so the more you can get in these groups or have participation or do something outside of the community and actually show up and do it, then the quicker people will know who you are, right? Because we will all see those cheerleader groups, which drive me crazy, and you know what I mean, because half of the cheerleaders don't produce anything ever. And so if I want to be there, but I don't, I have self-control. Yeah, just keep scrolling. But anyways, it's one of those things you can get in these cheerleader groups, but the more you're in relation with people, that's not where they're going. They're not going to an open forum and saying that. One of the things I like to also utilize is when I'm looking for a referral partner, I will call the team leader, the MCA, I'll call the actual office and kind of interview the office. And then ask for top agents, and then I stay in contact with those people, you know, I stay in contact with the 3 names I got. So there's just different things to build that too, if you wanna do it free. So you can look and see in KW's map stuff, I don't know, cause I'm not a command fan. But you can get in there and you can kind of see the referral mappy thingy. And you can see where like people are coming in from Denver, and it's like Chicago's one of them, like Texas, New York. And so then you go build it, go build your own referral network. Go find agents that do a similar amount of production like you and start building it that way. My best is, I have an agent in Arizona who every time they ask for Colorado, she like constantly is giving up my name. And I take care of her. So every time she does that, I'm sending her something sweet, you know, a treat, you know, brownies, whatever. Thank you notes. I've customized Yetis for my coaches. Like every time my coach sends me something, I'll get them a nice thing. And my coach doesn't make any money with it, right? Because she connected an agent to me. And same thing, like my friend Michelle, who always refers me in Arizona, she's not making money off it. She's just putting my name up there. And I appreciate that. So she was one of my referral agents when I met at Family Reunion to take her to dinner. And so,
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
because those referral gifts go out
yeah,
when you get the referral.
like the thank you and then also a gift.
It
Like,
goes
yeah,
out immediately,
Yeah.
not when the business has been made, because
yeah,
that's not guaranteed.
Right.
Sorry to interject. but
right. No, I'm glad you did.
Referral stuff, that stuff goes out right away, because
Yeah.
that tells them you're not in it just for the money, that tells them you truly appreciate it.
And that's the thing, we've had so much referral business, this year, and it's been such a blessing, but I also do a really good job of communicating with the agents too. And setting the expectation and saying, oh, you know, we just got the vendor contract, thank you so much, we're still looking, we're this, we're that, where are you? Like, that way they're engaged in the process too, and then they know you're doing a good job, like, you know you're doing a good job.
Mhm.
The person that referred you doesn't know that you're doing a good job, right? Your client knows you're doing a good job, but you need to build that trust with them, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen lately, is on Facebook, is
Yeah.
people go, I need an agent in Denver, Colorado. And then you look and there's like 275 comments, right? And like, they're all referring another referral.
Right,
And then I go in there and I says, oh my gosh, that's my area, I live right there,
right,
and crickets.
Yep.
Right, and then I didn't, you know, so I just did this as an experiment, and then I messaged them like 3 times, I'm like, did you find somebody in Denver? And you never hear anything,
Right.
right, and I think that, to me, that's really annoying, like, that's not a really great way to get a good, strong referral, and you're really taking a risk for your clients, I think, but.
I think
Just
one
thoughts
of
on
the,
that.
I think one of the most powerful things, and this is what's shown up with Michelle, is, you know, a lot of these offices have like their own little private Facebook group like we do. And so I would actually like start there, and that's it, so agents in her office will say, I need an agent in Denver, and she's like, hey, talk to her. And it helps because then that person is not inundated with 150 messages.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's
200
just
clients
crazy,
that know.
and yeah, it's crazy,
You all don't know 200
Yeah.
people in Denver.
no.
You
So
don't know them. Just
It
know their
could
names.
also be just as simple as, again, looking at like all the maps. And reaching out to agents that have enough production and just saying, I wanna be your Colorado referral partner.
Yeah, I'll just a couple of things I have with
Yeah.
that. One, build your own referral. network,
Yeah.
As I said, do it through command or just simply get online, figure out what people are moving from. And time block that for an hour. I'll make 2 or 3 contacts a day and stay top of mind with those people. I'll tell you one thing that just never makes sense to me, is an agent asking another agent in the same office if they know a realtor in Salt Lake City. Sure, I'll give you my contact, I'll give you my example for Arizona, her name's Jessica, she's not with KW, sorry, she's great though. If somebody asks me, hey, you have an agent in Arizona, like, yeah, sure, Jessica's going to give her a call. Well, when Jessica's got a referral coming to Denver, who's Jessica calling? Me.
Right.
Don't ask other agents for agents in other offices, go find your own, they already have that.
Right,
Brittany's more than happy to refer you to somebody that she knows in Chicago.
Yeah.
But when that Chicago agent's sending somebody to Denver, it's going to Brittany, it's not going to you, so
Yeah.
find your own referral networks, I see it all the time, I'm just like, why? Why would you do that? It's an opportunity to build a relationship and you're never gonna get anything back.
yeah.
unless Brittany quits and decides to sell their stuff.
So before you move on, Casey, so Brittany talked about maps coaching, right, and breakthrough coaching and all of those, and when I look who's here, there's a lot of you that are brand new in our market center, and you're not ready to spend $1,000 a month for a mastery coach, right? There are other ways and systems that you can meet other agents when you're at the beginning of your career. And one of them is, we have this program called Ignite at Night. And it's on Tuesday nights. We've got the links. Anyone in the market center can join. You don't have to be in coaching. But there are people on there from around the United States. There's an East Coast version and there's a West Coast version. Bounce back and forth, because guess what they do every week? They compare, they share contact information with each other. And so now you're meeting agents from Boston and New York and California and all of these places. You can build them into your network while you're taking an online class and not spending any money for it. So I just wanted to layer that on because I wanted to make sure y'all knew that that was available.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
And your referral business with not only just your database and the clients, but other agents, it is huge. It is something that is certainly worth spending time on. I'll tell you right now, Katie has a referral partner in the Midwest that consistently sends her 10 deals a year easily. That's 10 deals a year. That's huge. Now, do they all go through? Some may not, some may not, but consistently, it's at least 5 to 7 good referrals every single year.
$1,200. Yeah.
I don't know. That's 10 deals. That's,
I know.
it's substantial. So my point with that is, one, it's gonna take time to build that, but be consistent with it, because it will start to come back.
It does.
We built
And
some
it
really
takes
good
time, and I think that's it, it does take time, so it's not immediate, because again, that we're in a relation
Or
business.
is it not
Yes.
immediate?
It's not immediate.
And I know Mark does a great job of coaching on how to approach finding an agent for somebody else.
Yeah,
But it's super important to get that referral back. Because what I mean by that is, one, you're not just calling anybody, you're doing your research because you want to refer them to the best. And it's not just, oh, great, you want to work with them, here's their info. It's how are you gonna provide something to my clients? How do I know you're gonna do the best job possible? What kind of value are you gonna provide if I send them to you? Because when they have somebody that wants to come live in Arvada, they know that's important to you for their clients, they're gonna feel comfortable sending it right back to you.
so I have like 2 tips on this, is this okay, can I share this?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So if you all find yourself in like a mega camp or family reunion and you go there, I don't hang with people from our office. I love people from our office, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, this one.
I would go to happy hour. But remember, at luxury, I'm like, peace out, Jordan, I'm going to that table. Yeah, I mean, 'cause it's just one of those things, 'cause you really wanna be, and there's enough business to go around, so like, be uncomfortable getting to know other people, so if you are in an opportunity, other thing is, Miss EJ killed it, and I can't remember, oh, Kelly, she was from Fort Collins. So Kelly would drive down from Fort Collins to my bold class. Smartest damn decision ever, because she's in Fort Collins with 100 Denver agents, and she's never gonna service Denver, right? So who do you think we all got to know really well that would service Fort Collins? So if you have an opportunity to take additional training outside of the Denver metro area, but enough for the drive, right? Or even if it's Springs or Fort Collins or whatever it is, do it. Because it was such a smart move on her part. You know, I've had agents that will like fly like to Chicago and do that, and you know, you have to have money to do that, but it's just, it's different. But those are meaningful connections.
Yeah.
Was Kelly a team leader once?
No,
Oh, okay.
she was actually a brand agent. I don't, she's great. She's awesome. She's killing it. Yeah.
All right, well, that, I have one last question. And, this is mainly just to kind of sum it all up, but if you've given a lot of advice, hopefully for some new agents and hearing some experience, but what is one piece of advice you could give just to an agent who is maybe been in the business a while and is, you know, kind of wrestling with their career right now? And they need to reset, and what advice would you give to someone who's just now starting their career with all this up and down?
Yeah, I think for me, I really wish, when I first started, like someone would have told me, like, you can be friends with realtors. And I really mean that very sincerely. Because for so many years, it was like, oh, they're my competition, they're my competition, they're my competition. And I didn't learn from anybody. And, I really wish I had a better mindset with that, because now I'm like, oh my God, let's go hang out. Maybe not at the mastermind group, but let's, but, you know, so it's just one of those pieces, right? I wish like. It's okay to engage with agents, and it's okay to be lifted with people, and it's okay to mastermind with people, especially in your office or in your area or all of that. And use them, like, you know, I look at the Kesslers and Nikki and Amanda. You have these amazing agents with farming capabilities, and if you wanna know about farming, reach out to them, like, we have resources, don't be scared. Most everybody is an open book, you know, so use what you have and don't be afraid to engage with people. And for an agent that's contemplating, do I stay, do I go? I would ask the question, what is making you feel that way? And is there another role that excites you more? And is that, you know, maybe being on a team as a buyer's agent? Is that or a listing or maybe a transaction coordinator? Maybe the whole reason you didn't like selling real estate is because you didn't want to answer your phone at 5 o'clock. Can you find that opportunity in this industry where you wouldn't have to answer your phone at 5 o'clock? The answer for me is yes. Like, you know, if you have a desire and a loyalty and all that, I bet you can make it work, you know, because not everybody wants to do that job, but some people just want security and stability. And so if this is an industry that you are passionate about and you love, and maybe you're like, these are the elements I don't like, I would just question, is there another role you should be in? Or are there things that you can eliminate from your plate to make you love this again? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, one piece of advice that's, I always quote my father-in-law, other people do too, Jim Carroll.
Everything works, nothing doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not everything.
Anything.
Anything works. And the reason I say that, anything works, is because, Ignite's changed quite a bit from when I took the position after almost 7 years ago. It was 6 weeks and, you know, it was 2 hours, we're talking, visibility, then we're talking all kinds of different, we're drinking through a fire hose. And I realized real quick after that week, if I try every single one of these, I'm gonna suck at everything. You have to find out what works for you. What do you like? What gets you going? There's agents in this office that love calling. Look at Dale Trump, Douglas calling all day long calling people. He was the top producing individual agent last year. That ain't me. That is not me. I'm not gonna cold call people and dial people. That's not us. Where we thrive is in our events with engaging people. I would say try different things. Don't get discouraged. Focus on what you are good at, because if you don't enjoy what you do, you're not gonna do it. It's gonna really feel like a job. If this feels like a job for you, it's not.
It's not very good.
It's not gonna work. It shouldn't feel like a job. For us, providing value for people, is our job. It's what we love to do. But for me, you know, I didn't just join the Jim Carroll team at the time and Jim said, hey, here's 10 listings, Jordan, go have fun. I didn't want that. I didn't want Jim's leads. Katie took Jim's leads. I wanted my own business. I wanted to learn how to do it. I wanted to learn what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. And what I've said before is you have to find something that's not real estate related, that you're passionate about, that speaks to you, whether it's a hobby, whether it's something you really enjoy doing, that if you fail at it, you're okay trying again. I played baseball my entire life, all the way through college. Baseball is a sport built around failure. If you fail 7 out of 10 times and you get 3 hits out of 10 at bats, then you can do that for a career, you're in the Hall of Fame. So my mindset was built around failure and learning to roll with that and be okay with that. Being okay with the word no. I've transformed in my head that no is a positive word in my head. No is not the end of my day. No is not the end of my my business, right? You're gonna hear a ton of no's. You're gonna find what works for you, that you're passionate about as far as lead gen goes, and you're gonna do it, and then you're gonna sit here and no matter how much you like doing it, door knocking, writing letters, whatever it is, you're gonna hear no, and that's okay, because that gets you just one step closer to the next yes that's coming. So it's really about mindset. You know, something I tell my clients all the time, especially buyers, Like, hey, the answer is no unless we ask, right? And for them, it just took the word no to oh yeah, good point. You make it something positive. Yeah, it's amazing.
Great.
So like I said, I find something that you can, kind of pair that. For me, it was always baseball, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with sending things out, asking people for business. If it's not the right time, well, great. If not now, maybe it'll be the right time at another time. If no is going to end your day, if you're afraid of knocking on 25 doors and hearing 5 no's, that's tough, but you don't know if door number 26 is gonna be yes. And it's happened to Brittany, it's happened to us, Margaret, Stacy, even Casey at this point.
And I would say regardless, like to go off this, you have to protect your mindset. You just have to protect your mindset. And I can't tell you, like, I had to get out of all those like Facebook groups, like real estate groups, because everyone just bitches the whole time.
That's really.
Yeah, go figure. And I'm like, I mean, if you would just spend 2 hours calling for people that you want to talk to, that provide you value and make you happy, you wouldn't have to like get in this group and complain for 2 hours, right?
Right.
And so, again, it's like protecting your mindset, and like, you're gonna hear no's, and you're gonna be upset because, you know, so-and-so is using a friend, and I'm like, well, maybe so-and-so is using a friend because they didn't know you were in real estate, because you didn't talk about it.
Right.
Because you didn't like actually provide a value to them, to have them reach out to you, right? And so you also have to do self-discovery, and as long as you keep moving forward, you're protecting your mindset, you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're being professional, you're bettering yourself and your business, it will come, like, it will come. You have to remember, it's not gonna come tomorrow. So whatever you do today is not gonna show up for at least 90 days, right? That's in relationship, by the way. Tip for you. So whatever you do now, yeah, so whatever you do now is gonna show up in 90 days. And you have to be consistent during that time by doing it. And again, like, you're gonna be discouraged, and that's all normal, but don't let it stop you.
Don't let it stop you. You have to be mentally tough in this business. You have to be mentally callous. It's not only just hearing the no's, it's this happened to Katie and I, when we lived here in Old Town, the neighbor that I helped her rebuild the fence, helped her do all kinds of stuff. And met with her and sat down with her, and we were gonna list her house in 2 weeks. Well, at the time I was flipping the property. It was brand new, it was busy, and drove by one day, she had another sign in her yard, and I said, look, no, I'm just kidding. I said, what happened? She goes, you guys just seem too busy, you seem tired. And I said, name's Pat. I said, Pat, we are busy because we sell a lot of real estate, and I am tired of flipping the property.
Yeah.
But you should have at least given me the opportunity to explain to you, was I a little exhausted that day? Maybe, but you could have at least given me the opportunity. But that said,
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. Other pieces of business are gonna happen. The neighbor 3 houses down, 2 weeks later called us and sold it. You know, other pieces are gonna come. You have to be mentally tough, you have to be mentally callous. And mindset is huge. I sat in on, I think that one of the breakouts, Sandra even wanted to go to, was either full or they canceled it, I can't remember. So I ended up in like the common area where you just have like the quick 15-20 minute ones. And the biggest thing out of that, I think it was all moms. I was like, hey, you should be here. There's like moms crying up there, but it was really good. And there was a group of mom realtors talking about their struggles. And how they were all succeeding because of things they've implemented in their lives. And all 4 of them said the same exact thing. They said, once I started taking care of myself and my mental mindset, and you can't fill people's cups with an empty cup or even half full cup. You fill people's cups when yours is overflowing. That is the only way to truly fill somebody's cup. Because if you fill somebody else's when you're half full, it's not gonna work out for you. It's gonna show in the business, it's gonna show in your personal. So mindset, I just wanted to drop that.
I know I had my neighbor's house went up for sale, and I don't know who made this comment, one of them answered, somebody said you give it 15 minutes. You give that anger, you give that person 15 minutes, and then you move on. But I think it was more like 45 for me, but, because it was right there, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
This is, and I didn't know, but anyway, I gave it.
So Jordan lives right across from me, Jordan, Katie, and Jim Carroll lives right next to me. So that's really tough for me because they've been in the business so long. Mara and I are almost 5 years, but it's really tough that we're farming in the same area, we're doing the same events, and So we have to constantly remember, you know, we're on the same team. They're great, they're sitting there helping us, they help us all the time, but yeah, I mean, it can sting, right, when someone no longer is choosing them or Jim or maybe vice versa, I don't know, but
Absolutely.
and Margaret, so. Us through that, sometimes like, oh, I can't believe it, but I mean, really, Georgia had to remember, we got the same team and we're friends about that, so.
Some of those eggs on the house came from.
It's important, right? Because, I mean, you guys are in a unique situation, right? We joked about you guys are in the realtor cul-de-sac, right? And, but the reality is,
Well, outside of
Yeah.
that, there's like 7 other people.
if their Keller Williams Avenue signs go up in the neighborhood, and your Keller Williams Avenue signs go up in the neighborhood, they see, many times the public sees us as the
Right.
same,
Yeah,
right? And so honestly, as long as it's your two signs showing up in Spring Mesa, it's a win,
we want market share.
right?
Well, here's the
So-
deal, you can't sell every house in the world.
No,
No.
no.
Someone connects more with you guys and maybe connect more. with
That's what
us.
we
Totally, but yeah.
That's the big thing, it's who they're gonna connect with.
Here's what, this is what I've always found out, it always stings when you don't have enough business.
That is correct.
That's the problem, and that's the problem you're looking to solve. It will not sting if you're content and you have enough business.
What else does having enough business allow you to say, Brittany?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
It's
the line
just-
that you're like.
I'm ready for that.
no, yeah.
It's kind of
No,
fun to say.
listen to the point that somebody said, well, I found someone to do this for 2% on there.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Yeah.
No.
No.
And it's funny too, when you sit across from someone, and you're like, I'm just not a good fit for you. You're like, oh, why? And I'm like, PC version or my version? I mean, and that's the piece, it's like, yeah, we just we have those feelings when, yeah, there's not enough business.
Right. And when there's not enough business, you do what you gotta do. Remember your core values, remember your values. You have your standard, we have our standard. Even when there's not enough business, sometimes it's hard to say no a lot and get from something, but if it's not meeting your criteria, you have to stick with that. And that's gonna get you long-term success, as opposed to, this one will just take it because we need it, or, I'm working with some buyers right now. And, I met them about a year ago, tried to stay in touch with them, and they finally reached back out. They're high end, they're looking over 2 million in Red Rocks Country Club, but they're very conscious. They're not just ready to throw money out there. And I told them today, and again, I don't know them. I know them from Rolling Hills. I played golf with the guy one time, and looking at numbers today and doing comparables, this was the longest conversation I've had with them. Outside of seeing homes and buyer docs and things like that. But when I told them, I understand you're comfortable with this price, this is where the sellers are. I think it's overpriced a little bit. I said that, because they're asking me, what should we do, what should we offer? I said, you guys have to decide, where do you feel comfortable? And you tell me that number, and that's what we work on. If we can get the sellers there, great. If not, other great homes will come on the market next week. And I don't think they were expecting to hear that,
Yeah.
because I'm not saying, offer more, let's get this wrapped up, because I'm doing the math in my head already. I'm telling them, what's most important to you guys? How can I help you get there? And if we can't get it, let's go. We'll walk away. We'll go to the next one. Because I'll show you, I'm not show you 100 houses. I'll show you more of them, right? So another, again, just providing that value, show people you genuinely care. They can smell it if we don't.
Because we really should genuinely care.
We should.
Genuinely.
Number one asset for over 95% of Americans is their home. You have to be very conscious of that.
Or their horse. That's something, you know.
For their what?
Horse.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
It's big mountain.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if anybody on Zoom had any questions, but thank you guys for making us wiser today.
It's
More
nothing new, right?
motivated. Huh?
It's nothing new, right?
No.
Be honest with me, Jen.
It's hard, it's hard to tell. It's just hard. You gotta work a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when I started, they were just walking, I'm like, oh, great.
I know, that is.
Thank
you.
All right.
Thank you. There were chats and I don't know what they said.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if they were, I didn't have anybody to monitor them. Thanks, thank you, thank you. Okay. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome.